Hello.
Hi. We have received several nudges recently in the direction of going into Ray Franz's second book. Many apparently have not read this book who have read Crisis of Conscience.
Me being one of them.
It is a little intimidating, over 700 pages.
Yeah.
I did read it 20 years ago or more, and
I heard
need to
bits
revisit
and
it.
pieces of it.
Vivian hasn't read it, and I hear from the comment section in our videos that many of you have not read it and would love to know more about it. So we thought we would plunge into it in a series of videos that will start now. And first of all, just talk a bit about the background of the book, because when was it published? About 10 years after Ray was disfellowshipped. So he has now had 10 more years to process his life in the Watchtower. And also to think about Scripture and the principles that he left with us at the end of Crisis of Conscience.
Right.
And the 10 years, obviously, if you thumb through the book, has been spent doing a lot of scriptural study and meditation and prayer and research, because he's showing you stuff from the Watchtower publications that was not in Crisis of Conscience. But he's also showing you stuff he's personally accessed from the resources of Christendom. There's lots of references in here to historical and biblical resources that he wouldn't have had much access to or much motivation to look into in the days when he was a busy governing body member. So we wanted to just read from the back of the book itself as to why this book is so necessary, and what at least one professor who read the book in apparently an advanced copy thought about its significance.
Right. Okay. So I'll begin the reading and you're going to share with me, Will. Finding a proper balance between freedom and responsibility is a problem that has faced every serious Christian. For those raised in a highly structured religious environment, balancing loyalties to a religious organization, family, and personal conscience can raise difficult issues. Raymond Franz's first-hand account of the issues with which he struggled formed the theme of his first book, Crisis of Conscience. A third-generation Jehovah's Witness, Franz served for over 40 years at every level of the organization's structure. He spent 9 of those years as a member of its Central Executive Council, the governing body. His experience gives him a unique perspective on the issues facing sincere Jehovah's Witnesses, who may question their religious beliefs or the structure of their organization. It also provides a rare look into the words, actions, and attitudes of a small group of men who serve as administrators, legislators, and judges for Jehovah's Witnesses.
In Search of Christian Freedom, the sequel to Crisis of Conscience, provides an even more comprehensive study. Of this work, Professor Stephen Cox of the University of California writes, quote, "In Search of Christian Freedom is one of the fullest and most perceptive accounts available of the life of a modern religious group. Never before, perhaps, has the relationship between religious belief and institutional practice been so closely examined. The author has at his command unparalleled sources of information on the religious organization on which his study focuses. He also has a firm grasp of the problems of faith and freedom that have challenged Christianity since its beginning. In Search of Christian Freedom is of unique importance as a study of the Watchtower movement and a commentary on its current condition, but the relevance of the book is not limited to that movement. It is helpful in understanding a wide variety of social and psychological forces that shape people's interpretations of the Bible and religious life, often without their knowing it. Raymond Franz provides fresh illumination on the issue of freedom as it arises in Scripture, in religious history, and in the decisions of today's men and women."
The issues raised and the options discussed herein, although relatively relating particularly to the structure of Jehovah's Witnesses, are not so very different from issues other Christians have faced and continue to face, when they seek to reconcile considerations of conscience, loyalty, responsibility, and freedom. This work will move readers of any religion to consider seriously how much they value Christian freedom and to ask how genuine their own freedom is.
It's obvious from the comments of Stephen Cox that this book therefore has a wide relevance.
Mm-hmm.
And faith and freedom, although they may be found in an extreme form of testing or application, in the case of the Jehovah's Witness peculiarities, every Christian and every non-Christian ultimately faces the question of where are your priorities?
Well, what struck me in that quote of his is his talking about understanding a wide variety of social and psychological forces that shape people's interpretations of the Bible and religious life, often without their knowing it. That part really struck a chord with me, because no matter where you've grown up, there's a lot of baggage attached to what you do and what you believe and how you behave.
Yeah, particularly your early training. So the area of mind control, brainwashing, and how it's really a factor in everybody's life, whether you're a believer or not.
Yeah. You have to do something to know why you have accepted something. You have to kind of look at it. And most people don't. They just accept it and carry on believing it.
Yeah. I also was struck by the first sentence of the blurb on the back. Finding a proper balance between freedom and responsibility is a problem that has faced every serious Christian.
Yeah.
So we've often wanted to say it's not enough to know what you don't believe. Now you have the responsibility, our God-given responsibility, to figure out what's true. It's not enough to repudiate that which is false.
Yeah.
If you dwell on that too long, you miss life's central purpose.
You don't want freedom from a false belief system or institution to prevent you from having the freedom to investigate the true thing.
To seek after the truth, and especially the truth in Jesus. So I think Ray chose the best title, a wonderful title, in accenting this idea of Christian freedom. He tells us that there's something more, there's something beyond the Watchtower that is actually more important. Leaving the past behind, as Paul puts it in Philippians, leaving the past behind and pushing forward to things ahead or above, as he puts it, and also in Philippians. So in the next segment, we'll dive right into In Search of Christian Freedom.
Yes.